I'd like to call to order the City of Belton Planning Commission meeting for January 6, 2026. First time I've actually gotten to say it out loud. Could we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Shutt,
Here.
Commissioner Crate,
Here.
Commissioner McDonough, Commissioner Ruggles,
Here.
Commissioner McPherson,
Here.
Commissioner Christensen,
Here.
Commissioner Walton, Mayor Larkey, and Councilmember Pryan.
All right, thank you. First item that we have on our agenda this evening would be the approval of our minutes from November 18, 2025. We had several meetings that were canceled, and so it's been a little while. But those minutes have been distributed to everyone. Hopefully you've had a chance to look those over. Are there any corrections or additions, changes that need to be made that you're aware of? If not, I would entertain a motion for the approval of those.
I motion to approve the minutes for November 18th, 2025.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion and second. Thank you. All those in favor of approving motion or the minutes as printed, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, we will move on to our new business for this evening. First item we have is a presentation of project or PROJ 25-008, request from Y58 Partners for the partial vacation of a utility easement generally located at the northeast corner of North Cedar Street and the main access drive to the crossroads at Belton Retail Center on property addressed as 231 North Cedar Street. And we'll ask our city planner, Ms. Fernandez, to present that.
Thank you. An application was filed for the partial vacation of a dedicated public utility easement generally located at the northeast corner of North Cedar Street and the main access drive to the crossroads of Belton Retail Center or Price Chopper. The utility easement is located near the southwest corner of Lot B, Crest Plaza 4th Plat. Address is 231 North Cedar Street. And the purpose of the easement vacation is to accommodate a multi-tenant monument sign for the retail center. The original Crest Plaza plat was created in 1997 and has been expanded and replatted 4 times since, with the last being from the current owner of this property in 2025. And all replats have maintained the 20-foot utility easement on the front of this lot. And that included also the expansion and right-of-way dedication for 163rd Street. Currently, the utility easement has an 8-inch sanitary sewer line, an 8-inch water line, and a 6-inch water line inside the easement, as well as the possibility of added services in the future. The city maintains its position of preserving and establishing utility easements along the front and rear of all platted properties at a minimum, especially along arterial streets like this along 163rd Street. And this just ensures that any development that could occur along the corridor has adequate access to utilities in the future. Staff has several concerns with this vacation application in this specific portion of the utility easement, and those concerns are that the size of the utility easement is intended to accommodate current and future utility needs along a major arterial corridor that is less than 50% developed currently. Additionally, improvements for both street infrastructure and utilities may be needed as development occurs. And the location of the sign further reduces the developable area of Lot 4B, the lot shown here, which already received a modification in the plat for the lot width to accommodate its smaller size. An additional barrier of the sign makes the lot less likely to develop in the future. There's already an existing monument sign serving the shopping center on this property across the access drive in front of Price Chopper, which is a suitable location for an upgraded and large sign, which is being proposed. A sign at this location would be allowed with staff-reviewed sign permit and without any special reviews or modifications. And one of the main arguments we've heard from the applicant is that the sign, they would prefer the sign be closer to the street than the current sign at the Belton Crossroads Shopping Center. So we showed a image here in the staff report with a measurement from our GIS showing that the Belton Gateway sign, which was developed and created by the owner of this property, is approximately 84 feet away from the curb of the street. And the existing Crossroads of Belton sign in front of Price Chopper is 66 feet away from the curb of the street. So this sign location is actually closer than another one of their multi-tenant signs. Per UDC requirements, we also let the utility companies know of the request and were notified. And staff received objections of the vacation from multiple utilities with concerns of the loss of an area in the middle of utility corridor, which supports staff's recommendation. The objections we heard from were water, City of Belton, sewer, City of Belton, AT&T, and gas, Spire. And with that, staff recommends denial of the application based on these points described in the staff report. The applicant is here, and he does have some exhibits, so if you do have questions for me, I can also take those, but he also has some material.
Okay, thank you. We'll ask the applicant to go ahead and present this. We will have a public hearing, so we will open this up after the applicant makes his presentation.
Go to the prior one. How do I zoom it down? We'll make it. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm not real good at
That's
some
okay.
of this stuff. Good evening, I'm Russ Enan with Enan Architects. I represent Y58 on this matter. Unfortunately, we're in disagreement with much of the assessment and the representations of staff on this particular project. They note in their background that this is for 2 years that they've been telling us to put this pylon sign where the existing sign is. And for 2 years, we told them that neither the Price Chopper nor the retail center ownership will put a penny into that location because it's fundamentally flawed. It's too far away from the street to be legible. It is on a side slope in a wet bottom detention basin. We couldn't even get trucks in there to build it or to change or mount the sign panels. There's no electricity in that area. It would have to be brought from an extremely long distance to be there. Long and the short of it is that sign will never go in that location. It's just wrong. It won't work. Just going down through the bullet points, we're being told here that Jenna, how to go back to my site plan.
The second next to the one you're on.
Here?
One more over to the right. There you go.
Thank you. No, no, the site plan that was in your report.
Oh,
Not
the one to the left then of that one.
here?
To the right. There you go.
Okay. Staff is maintaining that the sign, as it's shown here, is damaging the ability to, I'm sorry, that the sign as located is damaging the ability of this lot to be developed. The sign in that location is impacting this lot absolutely zero. The development challenges here are the storm sewer that the original developer put in bisecting this lot, as well as the water line that goes to nowhere that has an easement. Those are far more restrictive to the development of this lot than the positioning of this sign. That the sign is having zero impact on the development. In terms of this easement and the utilities, there is a sanitary line in there. There is not a water line in there. The water line is in the street right away. There is 30-plus feet from the property line to the curb line in the right of way. We are working with the utility agencies mentioned, specifically Spire, Evergy, and AT&T on bringing the utilities to the AT&T property. We have not heard anything from them in terms of having a problem with this site plan, which they have seen, and they are extending their utilities to this property without utilizing the subject easement. We do not, and that will complete their utilities extension to this portion of the property. They already have utilities and are fully built out on the area south of the line. So just in terms of the representation that was made in terms of the positioning of this sign and comparing it to Gateway, we find that invalid. First off, the dimension that was given was from the right turn lane, not from the driving lane in regards to the crossroad sign. In respect, the sign at Gateway, that's not the same type of property. This property that we're trying to provide signage for is a small box retail. That particular property is large box retail, and you can see the buildings are huge, and you can see the signs from the road, which you cannot in this retail center. Frankly, the only reason that sign was built at Gateway was because the Nationals require signage along the street or they won't sign the lease. I don't know if you can read the numbers. I'm going to try to show you a few things about this property. The distance from the driving lane to the existing sign is 75 feet. In our case, it would be 45 feet. The most critical visibility for this signage for these retail shops, which are some 400 to 500 feet away, almost 500 feet away from the southbound lanes, is being able to see the signs prior to hitting the left turn lane. At this critical point, you're 180 feet from the sign position that we propose. You're 285 to this sign. It will be illegible. You will not be able to see that sign. Even if you see it slightly from here, it's too late to make the turn. It's totally without function and without use, not to mention the technical problems that we mentioned. We do not believe that there is any further use that could be envisioned in the current utility easement. The sewer is there. We had a pre-submittal meeting with staff, and we asked about repair and expansion to that sewer line, and we were told stay 7 feet or more away from it, and we're fine, which we're doing. The city's got their own water line, not even in the easement. The other utility carriers aren't needing the easement to fully build out this part of the properties. When they get their utilities over for this lot, they're done. There's no more work that they need to do. So we don't believe that what we're proposing here damages anybody's ability to develop these properties or the utility agencies to service them. We just don't think that there's any issue with what we're proposing. I don't know the proper protocols, but I'd be glad to clarify anything or entertain any questions.
Okay, at this point, what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and call the public hearing into session, and we'll ask for any members from the public to speak either in favor or in opposition. And then after the public hearing is closed, then the commission will go ahead and we'll be able to ask any questions of you at that time.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you. So I will go ahead and open the public hearing. And we will ask, is there anyone here that would like to speak either in favor or in opposition to the proposal to vacate the easement, as you've heard? Anyone to speak either in favor or in opposition? Seeing none, we will go ahead and close the public hearing then, and we'll open it up to the commissioners. We've heard from the city, we've heard from the applicant. Are there any questions anyone has, comments? Commissioner.
John, he rebuttals. You know, it's a he said, she said deal right now.
Make sure your mic is on, please, Commissioner. We're getting getting frantic signs from our sound man.
Well, I'd just like to hear what the city has to say about it, because we don't know how far anything is. We don't know, you know, what you have to say about what he says.
Of course. I think at this point, we have received an application for a large-scale development across the street from Price Chopper on the 40 acres. Large indoor entertainment use with over 500 proposed apartment units and commercial space. And as you can see, there's a curb cut right across the street from this access drive. So this access drive will likely be used by that development. And we want to ensure that there's no break in the utility easement for any possible breakage in the line for connecting those utilities in the future. So essentially, this corridor is only 50% built out. So the city's perspective is that we maintain those utility easements for a reason, just for the common good of making sure that there are access to utilities for any development along the corridor. Did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that we've received objections for water and sewer, but we've also received concerns from both AT&T and Spire with this. AT&T specifically had an objection to vacating the easement. They said that the only thing that they would entertain is potentially an encroachment agreement, which allows the utility easement to remain and a sign to be installed there. But then if there's ever a need for utility to go through there, the sign would be removed. So we typically use that sparingly because of that added risk and cost associated with that.
Commissioner.
One more question on the proposed sign, where you guys proposed to put the sign on. Is he right? Will they not be able to put the sign there because it's wetlands and stuff, and there's no electricity?
That sign is not specifically in an easement. It is a lit sign, so I thought there was electrical to it, unless it's solar powered in some manner or something. But in
Looks
terms of
electric.
there's not a specific easement that sign is located in. So there wouldn't be anything, at least from a code standpoint, that we would have to not approve a sign there.
So you couldn't guess if they'll be able to put a truck in there and put a sign in there.
We obviously haven't done any soil testing. We don't know exactly how compact that land is, but essentially, staff is willing to work with the applicant on any other location of the sign. Just not in a space that would require vacating the utility easement. But we are open to any and all other locations that just wouldn't inhibit this sort of thing.
All right, thanks.
I guess my follow-up to that would be, apparently, they've had a truck in there before to put a sign in of some sort. They had to have some kind, I mean, in order to position, it sounds to me, or it seems like there would have had to have been something to put that in, and the fact that it does have electric, because I know I've been by that sign many times and seen that it was lit. I guess the other question that I have, just immediate, and especially looking at this picture to see the sign as it is now on the right side of that road going in cannot be seen, but if we put it on the left side, then it'll be able to be seen and read. It's not really moving, I mean, I don't see where we're moving it that much closer to change the ability to read a sign by, what are we talking, maybe 10, 20 feet that we would be talking? And if we were to put a bigger sign over on the right, I just have to me, it doesn't quite add up that it would not work where it currently is. Any other questions, comments from Commissioner?
Can you not make a larger sign in the existing spot? Remove the smaller one, make a bigger one, add utilities, and it be seen from a distance?
That was staff's recommendation, but the applicant can comment further. But that was our request, was that the bigger sign go in that space.
Can you answer that?
Sure.
I mean,
I'd
Please
like
come
to,
to-
I'd like to respond to all the comments, but I'd kind of like to wait till they're all done. But I'm glad to start now.
Will you please come up to the lectern when you speak so that I make sure that it gets on the video?
Yeah, I misspoke. There is electricity to the sign. This is not what we would call a pylon sign. This is a monument sign, meaning it's only about 4 or 5 feet tall, and it's made out of masonry. They didn't need to get trucks in there. What we're talking about is, even though it's called a pylon, a monument sign, we consider it a pylon sign. It's 24, 28 feet tall. And to build it, to set all of the pieces and parts, and to get the sign panels and so forth, you need a boom truck. And you can't do the south side of that sign with a boom truck off the drive. You can't take a boom truck into a wet bottom detention basin that's full of muck. It will sink in there. It physically won't work.
there's no way from the street or from the entrance, if you shut the entrance down?
Has nothing to do with the.
I'm not a construction worker, but that just
I'm
seems
sorry?
odd.
Get a crane in there instead, then. Boom truck won't put it, you can just get a train, a crane.
Yeah, but to maintain it, what he's saying is to maintain it, physically put a truck in there, to maintain that thing when it goes out, you cannot do it, because, I know exactly what he's talking about, because I've been in that situation. The truck is too heavy for the ground and will sink into the ground, and the outriggers will not help hold it up either. You got to be able to reach the back side of the sign if the street's over here, and you can't get the truck to the back side of the sign.
You can't change the panels, you can't change the lights, you
The guys
can't.
that work on it safely in the bucket of the truck, you can't do it.
Make sure you guys are unmuting your microphones when you're, otherwise the stream won't hear it.
So, I see what he's saying. You can't get the sign to the people to the back side of the sign to work on it safely.
Bringing the sign 30 feet closer to the curb and bringing it over 100 feet closer to the view angle is huge. Fire Marshal Beal will tell you that part of your ordinance, it has the sign, the letter, or the number, address numbers, get massively bigger with every 25 to 50 feet because of legibility. And their chart goes up to 150 feet. We are way over that. The other thing that I didn't mention is we have a devilishly hard time renting these shops, attracting and maintaining tenants. And a big part of that is visibility. It's so far back from the road, you cannot read any of those signs. They're illegible. So it makes it even more critical to have street signage. You don't really need to look any further than your cedar tree development, which was unable to attract tenants and maintain them. They did a nice job retrofitting it, but they put a great big, huge pylon sign out along the street, which makes an enormous difference. And now that place is almost full. You go to the North Cass across the road, where there is no signage presence, and there is no visibility. They have a devil of a time getting anybody in there of any quality and keeping them in there. We're fighting the same battle. This is critical to us, for us to backfill these tenant spaces. I would love to see the correspondence from AT&T and from Spire. We have shown this to them. They're not utilizing this at any level at all. Made it very clear to us that it wasn't an issue. And lastly, I don't understand how the roadway easements on our side of the road affects the development on the other side. They will have their own easements along the right-of-way for these utilities. And I don't really believe that they're gonna punch that road and expand utilities in that direction. I would love to hear from Public Works to see if that's their intention, because I don't believe it would be.
So you guys proposing to put that next to that stormwater sewer? Is where it's going?
No. Let me get back to the proper. This is the stormwater that goes here and into the detention basin. There's the inlet from the detention basin into the storm, and this is where that little masonry sign is. Here is the location that we're
Okay, you're gonna be in front of it then,
yeah, and
right in front of it.
we're more than 7 feet away from the sanitary. The city water line's already not in the easement, it's in the right of way. Evergy, Spire, and AT&T are bringing their services in front and behind the lot. They have no need or no intention to use that. We don't think anything will ever go into that easement ever again. There's absolutely no reason for it.
Right.
The lots will be fully serviced when they do their extensions for lot 4A and 4B. And we will have no interference. We will provide no detriment to them.
Yeah, I see where-
City Manager.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, look, the city's very empathetic to the needs of this developer. Obviously, sales tax is the number one revenue generator for city services. We have growing needs for streets. We have way more needs for sidewalks than we're able to fulfill. And so we want more revenue. We want to help here in some way, shape, or form. We would love to have, better signage in this area for this shopping center to be more successful. The easement issue is the hard stop. Now, regardless of Spire, regardless of AT&T, the city of Belton is the water and sewer utility in this area. And so it's current needs, potential future needs, even future needs that are not even identified at this point, or why easements exist. And so whether it's redevelopment of this specific property down the line, whether it's the punching in somehow or having access for us for the city sewer and water systems to service the land across the street to the west, those future needs, we don't know what those needs are going to be yet. We don't have an application. We don't have a design plan. We don't know where the need, where the draws on water, where the heavy use for sewer, depending on what goes in there, what could come for redevelopment. And having the easement is better than having to go back and try to regain an easement or relay this infrastructure for our utilities. And so that's why they exist. And so we're not trying to be obstructionists when it comes to this development and the signage here. We want more signage. We want to help. That we can't in good faith say, yes, let's do this here and cut off our nose to spite our face to the potential future uses that we may have for those utilities. And Public Works has looked through this, and that's where this came from. And we don't take that lightly. We're pro-business. We're business-friendly. Mm-hmm. And so we're not trying to be obstructionist here. We just want to make sure we're not putting ourselves in a bad situation down the line.
All right. Thank you, City Manager. To our Director, Lot 4A, is that not currently under development with the Valvoline?
Correct.
So basically, the only lot left to develop along that front would be that lot 4B. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the only lot that's not developed along this frontage. However, this utility easement is not exclusively for the use of the shopping center. This goes along the entire 163rd Street, Cedar Street corridor. And that's the concern is what other utilities may come. I mean, we have, I think now 4 different fiber networks in the city. So those are other utilities that continue to enter into these easements. So it's not like the easement is closed just because the current utilities have facilities in there. There's always other utility improvements that may come across that need access to these easements.
I'd only inquire why the city didn't put their water line in the easement. They put it in the street right away, as is Spire, AT&T, and Evergy.
I don't know that any of us were here when that was done, but
Yeah, this was done 15, 20 years ago, so we can't speak on that. And there is a additional water line that is in the easement that's serving the Alvarez Bank and Lot 4A, because they determined that the line that's in our right-of-way is 16 feet deep, so they can't reach it. So the Alvarez Bank did add an additional water line that's in that easement.
We're currently servicing Lot 4A and 4B with Evergy, AT&T, and Spire, and none of them are going into any of the frontage easements. They're going into the right-of-way, and they're going behind the lots.
Is there no alternative location? Does it have to be right there?
The developer is not willing to put a sign in a location that doesn't have sufficient visibility, and this is the only place that even gets close.
For the whole shopping center, I think there has to be.
Where is it? Look.
I don't disagree that the current sign is not adequate, but I also can't see going into easements because we don't know what the future holds.
I understand.
There could be somebody here down the road that needs access, and now we've given that access away, which is not.
No, we're encroaching about 4 feet into the easement out of 20 feet.
Because that's a big shopping center that goes across a major road for a long distance. There's got to be other points. It's got 1, 2, 3 entrances, 4?
We're trying to serve the signage needs of this retail strip here, which is almost 500 feet away from the road, and you can't see their signage. This is the only place that we can put it that will direct, that people can see the signage and will direct them to there. Coming from the south, you can't even see a lot of this.
But even if you drive past that entrance and you see a sign and you say, oh, wait, there's X in there, I want to go in there. You have that whole extra street where you can turn right in there. You've not gone past anything. You can still access everything, and it shows you that. Even if you go past it on this route, you can turn left at the light and enter in off of 58. So you're not really gone past it. I understand what you're saying, but I think that there could be a different location and still access.
All I can tell you is Christie Development has done retail development for over 45 years, and this is the only place that's acceptable to them due to retail design and signage standards. It won't go anywhere else. It will go here or there won't be one at all. And it will continue to hamper their ability to lease the space.
So is it, and this is just a point of clarification, is it normal that communication with the parties that might be affected by this would be with the city? And so it's not unusual for them to not be communicating that to the applicant, is that correct?
Yeah, so after we receive any vacation application for anything that impacts utility easement, we notify all of our utility contacts through email. And then they follow up with us through email or through phone call. We didn't receive, as noted, we didn't receive anything formally through Evergy or Charter Communications. Evergy did want the contact information for the developer so that they could reach out directly and have a conversation. Evergy did not report back to us on any decision or conversation that they had. AT&T and Spire both did express concerns. Spire, typically their process is if they are supportive of an easement vacation, they will submit us written documentation, but in this case, they did not. And then AT&T expressed concerns with vacating the easement. They were against vacating the easement, but they said that they would be agreeable to an encroachment agreement that would allow the easement to remain. Any kind of encroachment agreement has to be approved by the city council.
I think what I'm feeling right now is that to our applicant's question, why is the water line out in the street? I'm guessing it wasn't when it was first put in, and an adjustment was made, and the easement at that time, it may have been in the easement, and that's been changed, and now, you know, we're looking at a complication down in the future. The other thing I would say is it looks like maybe the developer missed on their part when they first submitted plans as far as submitting a sign, that they did not plan ahead for something like this. And now they're caught and they can't lease out their space because they can't advertise for them, and they want us to make a change. So I'm thinking, again, we're at a point now, do we want to make a change that could come back and bite us in the future, where it looks like maybe the reason we're having this conversation today is because we've done that a couple of times before, in all probability, and that's why
We would be willing to stipulate that if in the future there was a need for that 5 feet of the easement, that we'll remove the sign. We're so confident that that will never, ever happen, that we're willing to stipulate we would remove the sign if it became a problem. I would like to see the correspondence from the utilities. As I mentioned, we're working with those 3 utility agencies right now. None of them have expressed any issues with what we've shown them. They're all running their utilities to serve 4A and 4B without using this easement.
But it's not just the utilities, the city has an issue, correct? With the water lines. So if they're fine, we're still not fine. I just think there has to be a middle ground. And
Okay.
if he really wants a sign, let's come up with a backup plan. If,
We're glad to entertain options, but, we've studied this extensively for a long time, and this is the only viable location.
I got a question for the city. Is it possible you guys could grant him to fill in part of that pond where their floodplain is, fill that in? So they could build a pad big enough to put a truck on to back in there to take care of the sign.
In terms of stormwater, that would be a Dane question. But something like that could be possible, and we are willing to
And then he
work.
could put the sign back right where it was,
We won't put it where it's at. It's too far.
and they'd have a pad to build the sign on.
We will not build a sign where the current sign is. It's too far away from the road. It will not be visible.
Well, if you built your sign to where the back was bigger and the sides would kind of set like this, you'd be able to see it from the street.
We have a sign design that's part of the package. That's the largest
Yeah.
that's allowed by your ordinance. If you put that sign at that location, it will not be legible.
It sounds like,
if
we're trying to work on a compromise.
And if you
But-
built it up higher.
Yeah.
Put the pad up higher to where the sign's higher, you're gonna see it.
And,
I've sat here and looked it over.
I've,
You're gonna see it.
so I think our city manager has a comment.
Yeah.
Well, I worked construction for 30-some years, and I've been in this situation, and I know that it would work where it's at. If you just build it up higher and make the sign a little different, and put them a pad in there, it will work where it's at.
If the sign goes in where it's proposed and there's a need in the future by the city, I can just already tell you how that conversation is going to go when I call David Christie in 2, 3, 5 years and say, hey, we need you to move your sign. That's not going to go very well. So I'd rather us just avoid that from the get-go.
Right.
Well, and to piggyback off, I'm just trying to also meet middle ground here too, but developers saying you're open to other options, and then in the turn, you're saying you're not. So I'm just trying to.
I would entertain doing the sign in the detention basin if it's out by the road, but not where the current monument sign is located. It's too far away from the road for the signs to be visible.
So if there is a change,
Yeah.
there is some interest in that it could be in that same area.
As long as
Because
it's.
just a minute ago, it wasn't. That's why I'm just.
No, I didn't have any problem with the concept of putting it in the detention basin on a pad, but if it's that far away from the street, you are so far away from the southbound lanes with that sign that deep into that basin. If you put the pad up here and the sign up here, that's a whole different story.
Well,
So my question is, what's going to draw more attention for those businesses? A sign where it's at now, on a slab, making some provisions to get it up so that it can be seen, or no sign? Because what I'm hearing is, as a city, we are not comfortable with changing the easement.
If,
And so it can be, we're trying to find a working solution.
and is it possible to move the sign a little forward on the current location?
I mean,
Is there room there to move it forward?
That is a private drive, so it wouldn't be the same setback as it would be on a private or on a public street. So we could definitely work with placement, and I think that
We wouldn't
these.
get into utilities or anything over there on that side?
There are
if
no
we moved it
utilities on
closer
that
to the
side.
street?
there's a water line along the private drive on Lot 4B.
so I would ask, what I'm seeing with the stormwater, and if I understood, it runs across, under that road and into the detention pond, and that little rectangle box is the place where that comes out in there. So if I mean, it appears that we don't have a whole lot of room to play with moving it forward towards the street, because then we're gonna be running into an easement with the stormwater system again,
Yeah, but if we move it forward a little bit, it's gotta
a
help.
little bit,
I mean,
so.
anything would help,
yeah.
give them what they want.
But that would be the one thing, you know, we're gonna be
Right.
running into easements on that side as well.
Right.
That we're
If you
gonna
get
have
in
to
front of
watch
the
for.
stormwater sewer.
So there are currently no easements in that whole detention area, other than where the stormwater goes in. So
So he could move it in front of the stormwater possibly.
If the sign was in this location, that may be workable.
we would entertain any other application from the applicant for a different location.
I think if we could move it forward from where it's at or something in the stormwater, and there's no easements in there, nobody have anything to worry about. We let them build a pad to get their truck in there, a road to get their truck in there to work on it.
Yeah, that is something that we can talk about with engineering on exactly the approved plans for that stormwater system. I know since that was developed, we also have our Markey Regional Detention, so there's some other potential options in terms of stormwater. But that's something that we'll visit with engineering on.
Well,
So
yeah,
I think what we've accomplished is we're on the verge of getting where we want to be. We want to give them a sign. We want to help those businesses. We don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot in the future with easements. But if we can find someplace else to make that work, I think we're all for it, for that.
I don't want to misrepresent, because I don't believe that Price Chopper wants it on their property in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe that Constantino's will approve this. And I also think that when you build a pad big enough to get a service truck in there, that you're going to be reducing your stormwater detention volume considerably. And that may be an issue as well.
Yeah, but does it catch that much water?
There's
I've never seen it full
there's a
in the
risk.
20 years I've been here.
Well, what codes and ordinances require and what reality is don't always mate up.
Right, I agree.
So, I'm glad to present this to the two ownership groups. I don't think that it will get improved by them, but,
But I see the bank sign is way back off the road too, and I helped put that bank sign in, so I know where it's at, and I know how big it is. So I know the bank sign's way off the road too, and the bank don't have no problem with it coming down from what you're saying. You
well,
can't
there's
see
a
it.
significant difference there. There's a big building with 3 big wall signs on it. That little monument sign isn't what you see.
Well, you can see it though from the road, that's what I'm saying.
Okay?
And I don't think the
it's
parking lot's never very empty at my other place either. And they don't have a sign out on the street, so.
No, but if you drive down 163rd, their north elevation is a big wall sign. And on their west elevation, there's a big wall sign. And on their south elevation, there's a big wall sign. And they are 200 feet closer to the street than these little retail shops and signs. I understand what you're saying, but it's not the same thing. Arvest Bank is 100 feet from the curb and has
Right.
huge wall signs. They're not 500 feet away up the hill with tiny signs. It's apples and oranges, I'm sorry.
I understand, I mean, yeah.
My question would be, would this sign include signage for Arvest and the other place as well?
No.
No, so they're
Well,
separate.
no, the other place would have a sign because they elected, with agreement with staff, to not do a little monument sign like Arvest if they could be on the future pylon sign. So, Price Chopper and the other place would be on there, but the rest of it would all be the small shops in the back.
Because my other thought would be to put it on that corner where Arvest has its landscaping. Would I hate to see landscaping go? Yes, but there's a light at that corner, and that's where I turn when I'm coming south. I don't wait till the try to fight traffic to turn left across traffic. I understand it's the main entrance for Price Chopper, but in our current setup, where that stoplight is the more reasonable entrance for that whole shopping center.
That is true for an educated, experienced visitor to that center, like yourself.
I think that's true for a lot of drivers.
A question, and it's something you just stated a second ago. Price Chopper is going to be on this new sign,
Yes.
but yet they would not allow the sign to go on their property.
That's correct.
I think there's a problem right there, but anyway.
Well, no,
I mean, that's not our problem to
no,
solve, but,
there's a very reasonable explanation for it. And you can see it when you drive by the detention basin and the cattails are 12 feet tall. Price Chopper doesn't have a property management system in place. They're a grocery chain. They're a grocery store. And Constantino's doesn't want something to maintain, so they don't want it on their property. They want it where a professional developer is maintaining it. And the city should want the same thing. I'm sure if you've been by there often, there's times when that detention basin looks like a jungle.
Commissioner?
So let's do the what-if game. What if this was approved, the sign gets put in? Down the road, there is an easement, there is a need to go across the street, and that sign's in the way. We call the developer and say, hey, we need the sign moved. They say, kiss off, we're not gonna do it. Where do we stand as a city at that point? Are we just stuck? Do we have any options besides that?
I mean, once we vacate an easement, we lose those rights, and we would have to go back and condemn something, which obviously condemning a sign would be very costly. An encroachment agreement doesn't give us, or the encroachment agreement doesn't necessarily have that, because then they're in our easement. But even then, that's not always the most ideal situation to be in. Typically, when encroachment agreements are made, it's because the sign was already put in there, and it was put in the wrong place. So the Cedar Tree sign is a good example of, they have an encroachment agreement, but that's because the sign was put there decades ago and further improved, but there are utilities that are running through there. This is kind of where we know that a sign's gonna become a potential issue, so we're trying not to put a sign on a location that's going to be an issue long-term.
The way that you would address that is you would record it. You would make it part of the replatting, so it says that the property owner is obligated to remove the sign at the written request of the city. And then you don't have to get into condemnation and all that stuff.
City Manager?
Yeah, I'm a little bit befuddled because we work with the Christie Development a lot. He's done a lot of development here. We've got a very good working relationship with them. I'm not sure why we couldn't have come together and had this conversation before it became an application for, or maybe we did have part of this conversation and they didn't like the answer, and that's why they were coming to you guys to try and get to overrule staff. But, we've been open to other options and other opportunities, and we've just talked about that other location, and I know staff is interested in trying to do whatever we can to be creative and make something here that works. I don't know why why Christie wouldn't reach out to us and say, where's the best place for this? We want it here, obviously, okay, we get that you don't want it here because of this reason, where else can we go? The where else can we go part has never happened, and that's kind of frustrating from the city's perspective, because we do try to help them out with, when we can, because they do a lot of development in the community.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why is for 2 years, we've been told by planning staff that the only place they will ever accept for this sign to go is where the existing sign is. And we've told them that neither John Constantino or David Christie will ever put a penny into that location. So we had no choice but to take this route, sir.
So, any other questions from the commission? We would entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to table this and give the applicant time to work with the city and come up with another plan.
Okay.
Commissioner, is it okay if I postpone it rather than table it? Postponing would take it to another meeting. Table would be in the same meeting.
Yes, let's postpone that. Thank you.
So I have a motion to postpone. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
So,
All,
question,
sorry.
question to staff, will this work, or is this going to, I see city manager, raise your hand, is this?
I mean, you guys are welcome to do this however you'd like to do this. The ask is for the vacation of the easement. So moving the sign somewhere where there's not an easement necessary would make this
So
motion or this
that-
ask moot. So, you know, we don't have to try and shoehorn a solution into this particular action. This action is, are we gonna give them or vacate the easement in this specific
So
location?
basically, we could take action to deny the application this evening. And then the city and the applicant could come back, or the applicant could come back with another application after having a chance to meet with all parties involved. So in order to
Well, and if there's
do-
no easement, if there's not a
Yeah.
utility easement, then there may not even be a need for a vacation. So it would just be a matter of just getting it done.
So,
We would
but,
prefer to keep this active until I at least have an opportunity to talk to the ownership.
I think the consensus that I'm hearing anyway is a desire that we're not going to approve it as it was requested, where it would vacate the easement. And that's really what we're considering tonight, not where it goes, but just, do we want to vacate the easement or not? And that's, as I understand what the part is that we are considering tonight, that's basically what we are looking at. So in order to do that, we would need to have both the motion and the second withdrawn.
I will withdraw my motion.
And do we withdraw the second?
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay. And then, if we want, we can entertain a motion then to deny the approval of the vacation of the easement.
I motion to deny the
Vacation.
vacation, thank you, of the easement.
You need a vacation.
I do.
All right, have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? We do have a motion to deny the request. Any further discussion? Seeing none, could we have the roll call, please? And we are voting on denial. So a yes vote means no to accepting the,
Correct. If you
Yes.
vote yes, then you are denying the motion. You're denying the project. Commissioner Shutt,
Aye.
Commissioner Crate,
Aye.
Commissioner McDonough,
Aye.
Commissioner Ruggles,
Aye.
Commissioner McPherson,
aye.
Commissioner Christensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Walton.
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right. And I do need to take one step back real quickly, if I can. I made a mistake. When we were talking about approval of the minutes on the attendance from last time, I had made a note and I missed my note. But Commissioner Kratt was here instead of Commissioner Crate.
Thank you. I'll
So
get that checked.
it's just a Scribner error, but I did want to make sure that we got that corrected.
Thank you.
So, okay, moving on, we'll move to the second item, presentation of CPA 2025-001, adoption of the Beautify Belton beautification plan. And again, we'll hear from Ms. Fernandez.
Thank you. Let me get this situated. Let's move on to something more fun, shall we? So, Beautify Belton. This is our beautification plan that we've been working on. You heard this the first kind of phase of this plan back in July. So now we've kind of made it through the first phase or planting season. So you've seen some of the projects go in. We've had the median plantings go in. We've had some landscaping out front here on Main Street. You will continue to see some things go in. We're preparing the corners here along Cedar and Main Street for the new welcome signs, welcome to Main Street signs. And then we're also going to be putting in water as an irrigation and landscaping into the new big roundabout at Mullen and Cambridge. So that's kind of finishing out our phase one. And all of that was in the beautification plan shown to you guys. And so hopefully you've seen some positive progress and hopefully we're on the right track. So essentially with the beautification committee, we came up with an overall map of all of the locations for beautification projects that we like to see done in total across the entire city. So essentially what we have today is, I'm calling it phase 2 plus, where we're gonna talk about everything that's left. So everything after phase 1, these are all of the projects that were left on that project map. So we have, so essentially these are prioritized lists of those projects per type of improvement. So generally it's broken out by parks improvements or public works improvements, or art and economic development improvements. So those are all of the different types or categories that were left on the map. So essentially, all of these projects are prioritized 1 through 3, and it shows you where the improvements are going to be made and what type of improvement it is, and what department is kind of handling the implementation of it. So this essentially will help us as a roadmap going forward into this budget year. It's helped a little, and then next budget year to essentially pick those projects out and fund them as we go through. So I don't know if you guys have had a chance to review these, but we generally have these broken out by streetscaping projects, which is generally handled by Public Works in our planting team that handled the median plantings and handle all of our other landscaping maintenance. So we have all of the priority projects listed here, and essentially it is more medians, it's more corner improvements, and it's some roundabout improvements, etc. So we'll be using this list to work with the Public Works team to help kind of pick out projects to continue doing work. And then we have art and signage projects. So this is really with the Art Commission and with Economic Development. The Economic Development budget handles our signage, our wayfinding signage right now. So that's where the Welcome to Main Street signs are coming from, and that's where the new wayfinding signs you see out today came from. And then the Art Commission is helping with location identification as well as artist selection, and they helped actually change the locations of some art that was on the previous map. They would like to focus on art that is more interactive and not so much in medians. So we have kept some art pieces in medians, but we shifted other art pieces to be more in park space or other public space. So they're helping prioritize this list and fund and select out of these projects. And then we have park beautification projects. These really focus on the entrances of parks, not necessarily things inside the parks. So this list is really just picking a park monument sign and picking a large and small version of it, and then making sure every single park in the city of Belton has a large or small Belton sign that it is a city park. So that's prioritized by, how active is the park, how large is it, and the needs for signage. And then we also have some landscaping enhancements around those entryways. So that's really what this park beautification project list is about. So we're just looking to have your guys' blessing and help us get this adopted so we can use it as our roadmap going forward as we do our budgeting and continue to allow us to do this work.
All right,
Any questions?
thank you. Any questions from the commission? I'm going to be good. I wanted to say that I do appreciate the standardized look that we are having with our signs now. I was driving in earlier this afternoon and saw the signs coming in on, from D, or from Holmes, and saw the signs and everything, and it's like, you know, this really looks nice. The color scheme, I miss that old Halloween sign that we had out there.
The purple one?
But it really has made an improvement, and I've noticed them around a number of places. And so I appreciate all the work that's already gone in to doing that.
That's
So,
awesome, thank you.
Commissioner?
A kind of maybe naive point, but, you know, they do a lot of work on those roundabouts. Is there any way they can, in the future, get CCTV on because as soon as they fix those roundabouts up, they're torn up by a truck within 24 hours.
So based on our conversations with Public Works, we aren't necessarily going to touch the smaller roundabouts right now because that's kind of what the consensus was, is that they're a little small and it's hard for people to not drive through them apparently. So we are going to focus more on the larger roundabouts that allow us a little bit more space to either put sculptures or landscaping in them. But Dane can definitely take the CCTV thing back
Yeah.
and ask Greg about that.
Those trucks should pay
Agreed.
for the damage they do.
Agreed.
I followed a tow truck, I won't mention the name of the tow company, but it had a trailer, a brand-new trailer on the back of it the other day, and they could not get around. And I watched them all the way in from the first, and we hit all four, and they went up and over on every one of them. They could not manage. I mean, if anything, the route should be no trucks. And
I believe that was the original intent. So we are still working on getting an alternative truck route installed. But yes, I think that was the intent because it goes through residential areas. So we were trying to deter truck traffic.
and just as a trivia question, was Bell Ray the first roundabout in Belton? I thought so. So, all right. Any other questions, comments? Anybody want to make a motion to give our blessing on this?
Was there going to be a public hearing on this one, Matt?
Oh, there is a public hearing.
is a
I'm
public
sorry.
hearing.
I totally overlooked that. So, well, we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor or in opposition to making Belton beautiful? We'll ask again. Anyone want to speak? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and now we can entertain a motion.
Motion to approve CPA 2025-001, the Beautify Belton Beautification Plan.
All right, thank you.
I'll second it.
All right, motion and second. And is this an official vote, or that we need a roll call or voice vote on this?
I would do a roll call
Either
vote.
way's okay with me,
but-
whatever you want.
Yeah, a roll call vote. for
Do a
this.
roll call, okay.
Commissioner Shutt,
Aye.
Commissioner Crate,
Aye.
Commissioner McDonough,
Aye.
Commissioner Ruggles,
Aye.
Commissioner McPherson,
Aye.
Commissioner Christensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Walton.
Aye.
All right, thank you. And move on to the next item, presentation of CPA 2025-002, the 2025 annual report for the 2050 Comprehensive Plan. And we'll hear from our Community Development Director, Mr. Wright.
Yep, thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Before this evening is the 2025 Comprehensive Plan Annual Report, which provides updates on the goals and strategies identified in the 2050 Comprehensive Plan, which was adopted by the Commission back in November 2024. A summary of the report and the goals and strategies statuses are on page 4 of the report. And so far, we have initiated progress on a majority of both the goals and strategies. So 58% of the strategies are currently in progress, and 69% of the adopted goals are currently in progress in some form or another. A lot of the goals will remain active, ongoing, or in progress. Very few of the actual goals or strategies are things that are actually have completion tasks with them. They're usually just things that we're going to continue to be monitoring. But you'll see on there that we also have future short-term are the items that we anticipate beginning in 2026. So there's 5 new goals that we'll be working on that list, and then impacting 10 strategies. Still several long-term goals and strategies that we haven't started yet, but those are things that are on our radar. And if there is any information on those are reported on in here. But just a few of the main highlights for 2025 in terms of the things that we have accomplished this year, over the past year. We started the Unified Development Code update, which is currently in progress and expected to be completed in fall of 2026. We've continued to make improvements to our neighborhood improvement and code enforcement processes through enhanced communication and citizen engagement, as well as the utilization of some improved web-based systems that we use to track and monitor the progress on those code enforcement activities. We've also improved our public documents, including an award-winning budget document that provides additional transparency on how tax dollars are spent in Belton. The Parks Department opened new pickleball courts at Wallace Park, as well as an ADA fishing dock at Cleveland Lake. We've also completed 2 multimodal corridor improvements to South Mullen Road and the Markey Parkway extension in North Scott. The rental registration and inspection program started last year with over 3,000 units registered and over 300 inspections conducted so far. We had our first major city public arts project with the mural under I-49 being completed last year. The Beautified Belton Beautification Plan, which the commission just made a recommendation to adopt, was drafted last year, and we've already seen progress made through that for streetscaping, signage, and public art. And then the installation that was already mentioned of the new wayfinding signs to provide directions to downtown and parks, and more of those improvements are coming here in the first half of 2026. A couple of the items that we anticipate beginning this year include focusing on some Old Town and Main Street visioning. We do anticipate having a meeting on February 5th to discuss potential improvements and needs for public spaces, businesses, infrastructure, and redevelopment along the Main Street corridor and surrounding blocks. And we'll have more details coming out on that here in the next few weeks for everybody. And then we've already started it, but we're going to continue to make a big push on our windshield surveys of all properties in the city. Essentially kind of a documentation of exterior photos from the street of each property in the city, along with documenting any property maintenance concerns that may need to be addressed in the future. And that may also help guide long-term improvements in the city, including the potential for exterior programs that can help with grant funds to help make those improvements to bring more properties up to the standard in the city. That's just kind of a quick rundown. Were there any questions on any of the goals or strategies or any of the content that was included in there? I'm happy to answer that.
Any questions for the director? To hear you say it, it sounds like we've been busy.
We have been busy.
Plus, we just finished up that plan last year, so to get that much of it done already.
Yeah, and although not required, we're not making any changes to the comprehensive plan, but we still wanted to have the opportunity to have a public hearing for anybody that had any input on our goals and strategies with the comprehensive plan or things that they wanted to see us continue to address with that. But there's no formal vote needed after the public hearing, since there's nothing changing in the plan.
Okay, so we will go ahead and call the public hearing into order. Anyone here that would like to speak either in favor or have any comments about any of the items that the director reported on with the comprehensive plan? Yes. Once again, anyone who would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask any additional comments, questions from commission. I guess, good job. That's all we can say is good job. Did the Unified Development Code update, was that included in what you did, or do you have more to give us on that?
No, some additional updates on that. We have a call this week with the consulting team, but they did give us an updated timeline of where they're at in the drafting process a few weeks back. We anticipate having our first few chapters for review by the end of January, and then the remaining chapters, their goal is to have that to staff for review by the end of February. So once we take a look at that, the goal is to have kind of some back and forth and some revisions on that, and it would be ready for a final draft in April for public review and comment to start that process. So that's the update on that. We're still currently on track, though, to hopefully get that here to the Planning Commission and onto council sometime mid to late summer.
Very good. There's one item that I did want to bring up, and I'm going to ask Dane to speak to it. I received a letter at home, and it was from Belton Water Services about a survey that needs to be done, and I asked him if he would just kind of share a little bit about what needs to be done with this.
Thank you, Chairman. So yes, we've been required by the state of Missouri to perform a service line inventory of our entire water system. So we as the city, we've already completed major portions of the publicly owned water infrastructure. What we need help with on the private side, so the other side of your water meter, we need to determine what material your pipe is. So a common question we've been asked is, my house was built 3 years ago, why did I get a letter? So the state is requiring us to have photographic evidence of what that service line is, so we don't have photographs of those service lines because we weren't ever told to do anything like that. So the people who are included on the list who didn't get a form were people we sent last year a sample of this. So we have those responses, and anytime we've ever done a water line replacement, we reset your meter. We took that picture already. So those are the people who are on our list of water lines that we know already.
Okay.
So what we need is a picture from the penetration of your water line into your house, and you can send that to servicelinesurvey@belton.org, or use the QR code in the mail form.
All right.
What was the email address again?
1 second.
It's,
It is servicelinesurvey@belton.org.
and I think there's a link from the city website that takes you to that as well, so that you can just go to the Belton city website and find that water line survey.
Yeah, there's a whole webpage dedicated to this, so feel free to click around and you'll find it.
So I know I've already submitted it, but I didn't see a place where it required a picture, so I'm gonna have to go back and resubmit the picture.
All right. Director, is there anything additional that you have for us this evening?
Yeah, just before the meeting this evening, I did send out an email to the planning commissioners, just notifying you of a neighborhood meeting for the 163rd District project, which is the 40-acre property at the northwest and southwest corners of 163rd and Given across from Price Chopper. We did receive the rezoning and the development plan application for that last month. and have completed our first review of that. And we are set for a neighborhood meeting next Thursday, January 15th, between 5:30 and 6:30 here in the council chambers. So we did send over 100 notifications. Everybody within 185 feet of the property received a letter, as well as all of the single-family homes in the Bradford Place subdivision, since they were the closest single-family subdivision to the development. So you all are invited to attend that. It's been properly noticed that that there may be a quorum and there will be no votes taken by planning commission or council for that. And then tentatively, we have that pending getting the revisions submitted and reviewed by staff. We tentatively will have a public hearing on February 3rd for that item. So please make sure that you're able to attend that evening, just to make sure we have a quorum. We do anticipate that there will be interest in the project. Not sure of in what degree of that, since it's not immediately adjacent to any single-family subdivisions, but I'm sure there's some interest in the development.
And I think the director or the planner earlier just kind of whet our appetite a little bit as to what some of that could include. So exciting to hear all the details on that. All right, anything else this evening?
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion
A second.
and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?